Hi guys, welcome back to the BMW vlog channel. Today we're diving into the next generation 3 Series, codenamed the G50, which will be introduced alongside its highly anticipated electric sibling, the Neue Klasse i3. These two models represent the intersection of BMW's legacy and its electric future. In this video, we'll break down the design, compare them side by side, and uncover all the juicy details that are hiding under the camouflage of the prototypes. So stick around because you won't want to miss this one. Okay, let's start with what we know about the upcoming new 8th generation of the iconic sedan. The G50 prototype was recently spotted undergoing testing, and while it's still covered in camouflage, there's quite a lot we can gather about its design. Much like the Neue Klasse-based i3, the new G50 features BMW's monolithic design language that we've seen on recent models like the new 5 Series. But with a twist. Designers have taken cues from the futuristic Vision Neue Klasse concept, which means we can expect clean, minimalist surfaces and streamlined details. One of the most striking elements we can identify on this new 3 Series is the front grille. Same as we saw on the Neue Klasse concept, the iconic design element now transforms into two horizontal glass panels, which now houses the headlights within. While the G50 and i3 prototypes may look fairly similar at first glance, they're built on two entirely different platforms. On the one hand, the G50 3 Series sticks to BMW's tried and tested cluster architecture, or CLAR for short, which underpins all of the brand's new combustion engine models. On the other hand, the i3 is built on the new cutting-edge Neue Klasse platform, which is designed exclusively for electric vehicles, starting from next year's iX3. It may be difficult to see it in these spy shots, but the difference here is much more than a technical jargon. It actually has a big impact on the car's proportions. For example, the i3 benefits from having much shorter overhangs and a longer wheelbase because it doesn't have to deal with making room for the combustion engine, as it doesn't have, or the transmission tunnel, which doesn't have either. The result? A much more spacious interior despite being roughly the same size as the G50. Taking a closer look at the G50, it's clear that this isn't an entry-level 3 Series, and I will shortly show you why. Up front, we can see how the new glass kidneys stretch out over the car's width, leaving the headlights uncovered. The new headlights are rumored to follow the brand's dual light motif, which consists of two vertical LED arrows, which we can't really see here as these are just the provisional bulbs that the BMW puts on their early prototype stages. As we can see in this section here, the absence of camouflage could mean that this squarish area right here is dedicated for the driving assistance sensors. This seems likely as the recent BMW models like the new X3 feature this black panel on only one of the kidneys instead of having it right at the center, interrupting that division in body color of the two kidneys. If this were the case, I highly doubt we'll be seeing the new Digital kidney design, which consists of an illuminated pattern that mimics the typical mesh design of BMW grills, but with a really cool 3D light effect. Perhaps we'll see these remain exclusive only for the electric Neue Klasse model as a differentiating element with the G50. We'll see. Focusing on the more sporty elements, here we can see that there are some very large openings for the internal combustion engine to breathe. Don't worry, the square cutouts don't mean we're getting a Lego block style bumper like on the new M2. It's just a way that they cover the prototypes to hide the actual design below it. Instead, I suspect we're going to see here a very large opening in a trapezium shape like we've seen on the recent M Sport models. Given these lateral parts don't really have any air cutouts, this could mean that either the body part will remain closed or that there will be some sort of fake air intakes. And I'm guessing they're going for the more minimal option with this generation. Other interesting details on this prototype are the flush door handles, something that we haven't seen really on previous models exactly with this pop-out style, or even the absence of sharp creases along the car's profile like on the BMW iX. The only barely visible one flows right here along the mid-lower section, which the Neue Class concept already showed with this design cue, echoing back to the legendary E30 generation. Moving to the rear end, we can identify a series of cool details. Below the strong lit spoiler, which we can't really see here with the camouflage, we can see the new set of taillights, which resemble those on the concept Neue Class. I can imagine these are going to be stretching out here right up to the centerpiece of the trunk where the roundel would go. And let's talk about these exhausts. Quad pipes have typically been reserved for true full-fat M models, but BMW, as we've seen recently, is shaking things up. For example, on the new X3 M50 or the X2 M35 or even the M1 35, we've seen that quad pipes are now being offered on these M performance models as a taste of that M spiciness. On that note, we believe this prototype is more than likely an M performance model, which could possibly be called the M350 without the I, as the I in the BMW nomenclature is now reserved exclusively for electric models. This M350 would then bridge the gap between the standard 3 Series and the upcoming M3 generation. Moreover, the red brake calipers we can see here also hint at the M Sport brakes, which add to the car's aggressive yet refined stance. What really intrigues me is how are the marketing team going to tailor strategies for both the combustion and electric versions of the Neue Class identity. I'm assuming the more traditional proportions in this G50 should help marketing this one as the ultimate driving machine that the BMW 3 Series has always been. Let's talk about the G50's interior, which is shaping up to be a game changer. While we don't have any spy shots revealing the new interior, we should expect heavy inspiration from the Vision Noise Class concept. Buttons and knobs, nearly gone. Yes, and even the iconic iDrive controller wheel. Instead, expect a massive central screen with the new iDrive 10 system, likely much bigger than the 14.9-inch display from the current models, paired with BMW's panoramic vision, which is a next-generation head-up display stretching right across the entire width of the windshield. In fact, if we look here closely into the pictures of the camouflage car, we can see that there's a fading horizontal graphic on the windshield that should improve the contrast and visibility of this high-tech head-up display. From this new floating screen to the sustainable textile and vegan materials, the interior is about simplicity and purpose. It's sleek, bold, and undeniably forward-thinking, though we'll see if it wins over BMW purists. Now, let's talk about the renderings. What you're seeing here is our attempt to translate the camouflage car into a clear, realistic version of the G50. We didn't just make any wild guesses here. Everything you see here is grounded in what BMW's prototypes revealed. This is a direct interpretation of the design language we observed through the spy images, blended with some styling cues from the recent models. Starting at the front, the new kidneys fall in line with what we've seen on the concept, resulting in a much more compact and proportional evolution of what we've seen on recent BMW models. The slim headlights are hidden neatly inside the glass kidney housing, then the dual light signature, combined with the thin, iconic glow frame around the kidneys, should help emphasize the width of the car while portraying a distinguishable identity at night. You may have noticed down here a bit of the M5 styling, especially with this bisecting piece down here. However, this trapezoidal intake is much wider than on the M5, as the air won't come into the engine through the kidneys. Nevertheless, there's still a possibility that the upcoming new M3, with this styling, could feature open kidneys to cool down the mightier engine. And taking a direct inspiration from the facelifted M240i, as you can see right here, the M badge has been placed on the lower intake instead of on the right kidney. I'm not sure exactly why they did this with the M240i, but we could potentially see a new trend of M performance models having the badge down there, while the proper M models feature it right in the kidney. Looking at the side view, we can appreciate the long hood, the short front overhang, and the slightly extended rear proportions, which are unmistakably 3 Series trademarks. What stood out under the camouflage were the flush door handles and the smooth and cluttered surface treatment. And we stayed true to that in these renderings, giving it a modern, streamlined look while retaining BMW's iconic sporty stance. As you can see here, there is only one single character line which flows across the mid-lower section from the front to the rear end. Again, serving as a visual nod to the original E30, which combines very well with this glossy black rocker panel. Moreover, we made the Hofmeister kink in a very similar style to that from the new 5 Series and the M2 Grand Coupe, with the embossed model to maintain consistency across the sedan lineup. Despite being heavily covered on the prototype, we can infer that this design element stretches right past the C-pillar like on these recent models. In contrast, the Hofmeister kink from the concept doesn't stretch quite past the C-pillar and is represented with a white vinyl on the window, which we could still perhaps see only on the electric variant instead. The rear is where things get especially interesting. Based on the prototype's subtle lighting signatures, we interpreted these slim horizontal lights that resemble those from the concept. And by making them slightly skewed towards the center, they now feel much less visually imposing and much more dynamic. Tying in with the duality element of the headlights, these also feature a dual vertical light motif, as you can see here, which combined with the 3D pattern of the LEDs here, create a cohesive and futuristic look from head to tail. The black spoiler, the sleek trunk lines, and the waterfall-like creases were directly inspired by what we've observed in the camouflage car. And then there's the lower section. From the prototype, we could tell that there was something aggressive going on here. So we rendered this sporty diffuser with the quad exhaust pipes, of course, in the M Performance style. As you can see here, the diffuser also reflects that duality styling with this division right in the center, which creates a very nice line flow with the taillights, the spoiler, and the ongoing theme at the front of the car. One other cool detail is how the character line we commented on before stretches past the wheel arch right up to here. As this isn't the full-fledged M3, we resisted adding flare fenders, but I can already imagine with this styling how cool it would look. Of course, these renderings are our best attempt to strip back the camouflage and envision the production-ready G50. While we don't know for certain until the official reveal, this gives us the clearest glimpse yet at what the next chapter of the 3 Series will hold. But don't worry, we've also uncovered some juicy details that you don't want to miss. Let's talk performance. The G50 is expected to feature an updated version of the beloved B58 inline-six engine. While emissions regulations in Europe might mean the same or a bit less power than the previous generations, we could still see a potential mild hybrid configuration that could add a few extra horsepower to this one. Expect a power figure of around 380 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time close to 4 seconds. And we're hoping this G50 variant, following the M340i, will still offer the same rear and all-wheel drive options that help it excel in its class. Meanwhile, the i3 takes a completely different route, leveraging on the Neue Klasse's 800 volts system for pure electric performance. While BMW hasn't revealed exact specs yet, we can expect up to 900 kilometers of range on the WTP cycle and enough power to challenge the likes of Tesla and Mercedes electric models. Production for the G53 series is set to begin in November 2026, but there's an interesting twist. It won't be built in Munich like its electric sibling. Instead, BMW is moving production to Dingolfing, a major hub for the brand's production. And what about the M3? Well, production of the next generation G84 is rumored to start in 2028, so we've got some waiting to do. We're also hearing whispers of a potential 3 Series Touring joining the 3 Series lineup as the G51. So there you have it. BMW's next generation 3 Series and its electric sibling, the i3, are shaping up to be complete game changers. With the sleek Neue Klasse-inspired designs, innovative interiors, and exciting performance options, there's definitely a lot to look forward to. So, what do you think of the new G50? Are you excited about BMW's direction, or do you miss some of the brand's classic design elements to differentiate this one a bit more from its electric sibling? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more BMW content. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys in the next one.